Getting back to the basics. Mindset has basic elements to it that will align you with your growth and with your progress and with crushing it in the world. Just like Kobe and Jordan, Phelps and Armstrong practice the basics in their disciplines, we should be practicing the basics in mindset. I practice the basics all the time. I've hit the level of black belt, and just because I'm an advanced elite status now doesn't mean that I don't practice what the white belts practice. Footwork, the mechanics of throwing a punch, the mechanics of doing a defense. Because those mechanics are like the brick and mortar of a wall. It's the foundation. It's what holds you together. It's what allows you to move forward, to grow. Kobe, Armstrong, Jordan, Phelps, they all do it in their disciplines, right? The mechanics of a stroke, the mechanics of a shot. Kobe and Jordan say all the time how they would show up to practice early to get extra shots in. Free throws, the basics, ball handling, the pure basics. When you have a strong command of the basics, then you can build atop that and expand your growth, expand your skill set. In PD, we would do it. In the police department, we'd go to the range twice a year. Weapon retention, sight alignment, trigger control. The fire department, we would drill on stretching hose lines, taking doors, which is forcible entry, breaking down doors, how to vent, ladder placement, different scenarios, doing different things on different buildings. We constantly did the basics. Yeah, we would use advanced tools all the time, but we would practice the basics, because if we had the basics down, then when a tool didn't work, we would still be able to handle ourselves. Forcible entry is the perfect example of that. We have a hydraulic tools, they call it the ram. And it's just a hydraulic pump that you put on the door and it pops the door. But what happens if that hydraulic ram goes down? You have to know the basics of how to do forcible entry with an axe and a halcyon, which are two hand tools that we use to pry the door open. The same thing in mindset. There are 5 things that I always come back to in my mindset development. I've been developing my mindset for years now, and every day, every week, I'm still working on it, and I'm still reminded of the basics. And these are the 5 basics that I really pay attention to. There's a whole array of basics that you could pay attention to. These are the 5 that work best for me. The first is vision. I have to know where I'm going if I'm going to lay out a plan to get there. It's that simple. And it's not something I do just once. I lay that vision out, and that vision gets tweaked as I move along my journey. That's another thing. If you guys are just starting out and people are asking you, what do you want? That's one of the first questions I ask is, what do you want? Where do you see yourself in 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years? And people have a hard time answering me. They're not exactly sure. Well, what's your vision? And your vision isn't permanent. It's allowed to change. So just because I lay out my vision right now, my vision personally is I want to help and have impact on 112 million people and turn them into freedom thinkers. And my definition of a freedom thinker is just someone that thinks for themselves and doesn't let all of those outside forces, those external forces, specifically the government, politicians, and the news, I don't let those 3 entities tell me what to think. I think for myself. And I want to have influence and have other people think for themselves. That's my vision. And I constantly pay attention to that. How do I practice my vision all the time? I'm constantly reading it. I'm constantly reminded of it. A subdivision of vision is vision boards. Vision boards kind of take your vision statement and put it into pictures. And I'm constantly reminded of that. I have a vision board on my file cabinet there. I have my calendar, an entire wall calendar, 3x4 on the wall here. And I'm constantly reminded of my vision. Number 2, set goals. You have to set the goal. Because the goal gives you the actions to take. I want to help 112 million people. Now I have to set a goal so that I can eventually get to that point. These YouTube videos is one of the goals that I set so that I can have as far of reach as I possibly can. I'm reminded about my goals all the time. I'm always saying to myself, how can I chip away at the goal, the big vision of 112 million people, YouTube videos. Now, I have a goal of 100 videos in 100 days. How do I chip away at that? How can I start making my videos engaging so that I suck viewership in and they can actually absorb the information? Number 3, I measure, and this is really important, guys. I measure looking behind me, never looking in front of me. What does that mean? I measure from the past, not from the horizon. I have a goal. I want to help 112 million people's division. The goal is to do 100 videos in 100 days so I can look at my analytics on my YouTube channel and say, oh, I'm not getting any viewership. Oh, my average view duration's not going up, right? My click-through rate's not performing the way I expect it to perform. And I could be like, I don't know if this is working. Like I'm not getting to that goal of 100 videos, 100 days. Like this is all overwhelming. But then I look backwards and I say, oh, people are reaching out to me. People are thanking me. I'm seeing people when I'm at the gym and they're subscribed to my channel and they're like, that video really hit me the other day. Now I understand why habits are so important. I never thought about, I always set goals, but I never thought about the cars. I have a goal setting system, fast cars. And I never thought about the cars portion of it. The cars portion is what you need to actually achieve the goal that you write. So fast is how you write a goal. Cars is essentially how you achieve it. I never thought about the cars portion of setting goals, right? Number 4, perceptions. Perceptions was the first domino that sent me down the mindset rabbit hole. I went to go see my mentor down in Florida, and my mentor said to me, if I said, what are you doing laying your phone there on the table? How would you take that? I was like, I don't know, I'd find it a little weird that you were concerned about my phone, but I don't know. And he said, well, some people may take it as the mentor thinks I'm rude because I put my phone on the table and I'm not paying attention to him. So I could think my mentor is rude for saying that to me. And I could think that the mentor believes that I was rude to him by having my phone out. Or, he said, I could be concerned because your phone's next to that glass of water. And I could be concerned that if the water gets spilled, it's going to spill in your phone. So which one did I mean? Like, I really don't know. And he said, that's the problem. People will flip out because they perceive something in one way, and it really isn't that way. I'll give you a quick example going back to my YouTube channel. My click-through rate dropped. So now I'm like really concerned. I'm like, I'm a little hurt that people aren't clicking on my thumbnails, right? And I said something to my mentor, a big YouTube guy, a big name in the YouTube world, a big name. And he said to me, yes, but as you get more impressions, your click-through rate will drop. So I was perceiving it as a bad thing. I was perceiving it like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? And he's like, don't worry about it. Go back and look at your impressions. Your impressions are increasing. Your click-through rate will drop. It's not that big of a deal. So how are you perceiving things? When I talk about perceptions, I always tell this story. I'm driving down the highway, and this actually happened to me a couple of years ago. It's been a while now, but I'm driving down the highway, and this guy, I'm in the right-hand lane. This guy comes from the left-hand lane, almost clips my bumper, and hits the exit ramp. I was like, whoa! It happened so quick, it scared the life out of me. There would have been a time where I would have raised my hand in New York City fashion with just one finger up, and I would have had a conversation with him that wasn't very nice, especially for YouTube. This time, I simply asked God to bless him, and I said a prayer for his family. And you want to know what the difference between those two were? By the time I made it to the next exit, I forgot all about it. And when I got to where I was going, I didn't even mention it to my friend. It was just a past thought. It was gone. It was over with. Now, if I would have raised my hand with one finger up, I would have told my friend about it. When I got home, I would have told my wife about it. The next day, I would have told my neighbor about it, and we would have festered there. But maybe he really did have an emergency. Maybe he really was rushing to the hospital for his little girl, or rushing to the school because his son got hurt. I don't know. But it's on me. It's how I perceive it. So I choose to perceive that he had an emergency, because nobody would just absolutely decide to drive like that. Right? So that's number 4. How are you perceiving the events, the situations, the challenges that are coming upon you? Is life happening for you or to you? I think life's happening for me. But how do you perceive life? Number 5, faith. Faith that I will always be able to figure it out. I don't know exactly how, but I know this is going to happen. I know I'm going to hit 100 and 100. When I first started off on this 100 and 100 challenge, a friend of mine said, hey, kind of laughed at me a little bit. And he said, I'll give you 3-to-1 odds. I said, 3-to-1 odds? You don't think I'm going to do this? We'll see. 100 and 100, it's not an easy task. 100 videos in 100 days, and the criteria is 10 minutes of video. It's hard to talk for 10 minutes at a clip. I'm like, I can do that. That's not a problem. And I'll tell you, when I get to 100, my 100th video is going to be what I learned in doing 100 videos, the frustrations that I faced, the times I wanted to quit, the times I wanted to throw my hands up and just give up. All little lessons that I learned starting from 0 and going to 100. But I knew in that moment when I said I was going to do 100 and 100, I knew that I was going to do it. I didn't know how, besides the fact of turning my laptop on and just recording, right? I didn't know how. I didn't know about structure or thumbnails or titles or any of that. All I knew is I was going to add value to people's lives. And I was going to do that with 100 videos in 100 days. And I'd figure the rest out. So having faith that you're actually going to be able to pull it off. Having faith that other people are going to see that you're taking action and they're going to support and help you. It's been an amazing journey up to now. I'm on, I don't know, I'm in the 70s. I'm between 75 and 80. I don't know exactly where. But it's been an amazing journey. And I have the faith that it's going to happen, that I will hit 100. Faith is a big part of setting goals. When I opened my preschool, I had faith that I'd be able to find the building. We're in a rural area here. There's not many locations that are big enough to house a preschool. We toured almost every building imaginable, and we couldn't find anything. And it's crazy, but my wife woke up and she said, "You know, your father came to me in a dream last night, and he told me it was going to all be okay." And that day, we found the location that we're still at 20 years later. Really crazy. But the point is, you have to have faith. Faith is what you're going to lean upon when you're frustrated, when things seem hopeless, when things just aren't going right. Faith is one of those things that hold you together. It's kind of like the glue or the mortar in brick and mortar. It's like the mortar. So, 5 basics: vision, goals, measuring from the past, not from the horizon, perceptions, how will we perceive in life, and faith. Those are the 5 basics that I always go back to. I'm always running through my head so that I can keep and maintain a strong mindset and focus on moving the needle towards that vision and that goal. Guys, around here, we live up here in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there today and be unstoppable and absolutely crush your day. I love spending time with you guys. Have a very blessed day.